What if a desktop 3D printer wasn't just something you used to make a single model, but something you could actually use as a small production machine? This is the LightMake L4, and it might be one of the most ambitious FDM printers I've tested. Instead of relying on one nozzle with complicated filament swapping, the L4 uses 4 completely different print heads, each with its own hot end, filament path, and color control. The result? You can print 4 identical models at the same time, create complex multi-material parts without wasting huge amounts of filament, and switch between colors almost instantly. And the difference compared to traditional multi-color systems is pretty obvious. This is the amount of waste generated by printing the same model on a conventional machine. And this tiny amount, that's from the L4. But the interesting thing is, the L4 isn't just about multi-color printing. Underneath, I use an industrial-grade linear motor system instead of traditional belts, allowing incredible fast movement while maintaining micron-level precision. It also combines a huge build volume, support for advanced materials like TPU, carbon fiber composites, and nylon, plus software features designed for managing multiple machines. Basically, LightMake is trying to turn a desktop 3D printer into a mini manufacturing platform. Of course, big claims don't always translate into real-world performance, so I spent the last few days testing this beta unit, running batch prints, large format models, multi-material projects, and pushing its hardware to see what it can actually do. Is this really the future of desktop 3D printing? Or is it just another ambitious machine with impressive specs on paper? Let's find out. Alright, let's walk around the LightMake L4 and highlight some of the unique design choices that make it special. First off, there is a huge 6.5-inch touchscreen for controlling the entire printer. Honestly, this might be one of the largest displays I've seen on a desktop 3D printer. It's almost the size of the smartphone, right? So after using the interface, I can tell LightMake focuses heavily on making it intuitive. Each printhead has its own dedicated control panel, making it easy to manage filament loading, colors, temperatures, and print settings, even with 4 independent printheads. My favorite feature is definitely Print Q. According to LightMake, it uses a forklift-style place swapping mechanism to automatically remove finished prints, install a fresh build plate, and start the next job in the queue. The idea is that you can leave the printer running overnight, and your finished models will be ready by the next morning. Unfortunately, this prototype doesn't support the feature yet, but it's definitely something I'm excited to test in the future. Conveniently, the TIFF card slot and the USB port are located right beside the display, making offline file transfer easy. Once set, you'll find 4 external filament holders. Each spool connects directly to its own printhead through an independent filament tube. Keeping the spools outside reduces removing weight on the gantry, while RFID recognition helps automatically identify compatible materials. There's also a gigabit LAN port, which is useful if you're planning to run multiple machines as a print farm. Now, let's talk the star of this machine, the linear motor system. Unlike traditional battery-driven printers, the L4 uses a magnetic linear motor system. The printheads glide incredibly smoothly and quietly, with almost no mechanical resistance. This reduces weight and eliminates issues like belt stretching or tension adjustments, while maintaining high precision accuracy. Inside, there are 4 completely independent printheads, each with its own hot end and quick release nozzle. When the printhead is idle, it automatically lifts around 5mm to prevent scratching or filament dripping onto the model. Overall, the LightMake L4 has a very unique industrial design. It looks premium, feels well thought out, and underneath that clean exterior is a huge build volume designed for both large prints and high volume production. Before we get into the actual printing tests, I want to quickly show you LightMake's self-developed slicing software. I know what some of you might be thinking. If a normal 3D printer already has a learning curve, does adding 4 independent printheads make the software 4 times more complicated? Surprisingly, not at all. The first feature I want to show you is the Smart Arrange. Let's use this rabbit mode as an example. You can simply adjust the quantity. 4 rabbits means each printhead prints 1, while 8 means each printhead prints 2. You can also choose between copy and mirror. I actually recommend the mirror because opposite movements help cancel out vibration, improving stability during high-speed printing. As long as your models fit within the build area, you can keep increasing the quantity for efficient batch production. Another nice touch is that if you resize one model, the other copies automatically update at the same time. The software keeps everything synchronized, making the full printhead workflow feel surprisingly simple. Once the layout is ready, we can slice the model. The slicing speed is very impressive, even with multiple models. After slicing, you still get all the advanced controls you'd expect, including print quality, wall thickness, infill, speed, supports, and other detailed parameters. Another major highlight is the cloud management platform. This is the device management dashboard. Right now, I only have 2 printers connected, but you can easily add more. It's clearly designed for users running multiple machines, especially professional print firms. From one interface, you can monitor your printers, assign jobs, and stop prints with just one click. And the best part, the software is completely free. Unlike many print form management platforms that require monthly subscriptions, LightMake doesn't charge any additional fees. You can also remotely access each printer, view live camera feeds, check print progress, and adjust settings like temperature, filament assignment, fan speed, and lighting without being physically next to the machine. One more thing worth mentioning is that, according to Lightway, this slicer is built on top of the open source Orca slicer with custom improvements, which is great news for experienced users who are already familiar with the workflow. And finally, how could you forget color printing? Let's take this Earth globe as an example. On the project filament, you can direct swap and assign different colors. This new version looks a little more like Mars, right? Yeah, I definitely prefer the original colors. Anyway, once the slicing is complete, just hit the print single play button. The software will automatically match the project with compatible printers. You'll notice that this print at the bottom is an automatic select because it doesn't have the required filament colors loaded. You can make the necessary adjustments if needed. Finally, just select the printers you want to use and start the print. It's that simple and intuitive. Enough about the software, let's jump straight into what really matters, the printing quality. After all, that's what ultimately makes or breaks any 3D printer. The very first thing I want to test was, of course, the 4 independent printheads. The biggest advantage of 4 independent printheads is simple: productivity. Instead of printing 1 or 2 models at a time, the 4 can produce 4 models simultaneously, dramatically increasing output without adding more print time. Each printhead has its own heating system and filament path, keeping all 4 materials completely separate and preventing color contamination. The product nozzles are also sealed to reduce filament oozing and keep the prints clean. To test this, I printed 4 storage boxes in 4 different colors at the same time. And honestly, watching all 4 models finish together is incredibly satisfying. Next, I want to test the Toolhead switching speed. Traditional multicolor printers often use a single nozzle that repeatedly unloads and reloads filament. Each color change can take 10 or 30 seconds, or even longer, adding a lot of extra time to the print. Therefore, takes a completely different approach. Already preheated and ready to go. According to LightMake, the production version can switch printheads in around 1 second. This build unit still has room for optimization, but even now, it feels noticeably faster than most multicolor systems I've tested. I printed several multicolor models, including this horse with white hoofs, a gray body, and a yellow muzzle. The color transitions came out clean with no obvious bleeding or contamination. This multicolor calibration cube also printed smoothly, and the color boundaries feel almost seamless to the touch, showing that the nozzle alignment is highly accurate. Another major advantage is the near zero purge waste. Because every color has its own dedicated nozzle, there's no need to repeatedly purge filament during color changes. Only a small amount of material is used for the initial priming tower. Compared to traditional multicolor systems, that could save a huge amount of filament over time, especially for print farms running multiple machines around the clock. Now, let's talk about precision and speed. Powered by a closed-loop industrial linear motor system, LightMake claims plus or minus 1 micron position accuracy, print speeds of up to 500 mm per second, and travel speeds reaching 1000 mm per second. To demonstrate the machine's stability, I balanced core on the frame while it was printing. Even during high-speed movements, the core stayed upright the entire time. Of course, that's not a scientific test, but it gives a good visual idea of how stable the machine is. The core surfaces also remain smooth at high speeds, with very little visible ring or ghosting. The linear motor system also reduces long-term maintenance. There are no belts to stretch, adjust, or replace. I haven't tested the durability long enough to verify this myself, but LightMake claims up to 50,000 hours of stable operation. If that holds true, it could be a major advantage for print farms running around the clock. Another major limitation on most desktop 3D printers is build volume. Sooner or later, almost every maker runs into the model that's simply too large to fit. The LightMake L4 addresses that problem with an exceptionally large build area. I just put the build volume for both single color and multi-material printing on the screen. To re-put that to the test, I printed this giant global model. The print took roughly 20 hours. But seeing the model of this size come off a desktop machine in one piece was incredibly satisfying. Material compatibility is equally impressive. Here are all the materials it supports. And check out this flexible TPU shoe I printed. It's super flexible and feels surprisingly close to a real product. That means you can print rigid structural frames alongside flexible rubber components in the same project, opening up countless possibilities for functional prototypes, robotic parts, and more. Compared with the typical desktop printers that quickly run out of space, therefore gives creators and small businesses far more freedom in both print size and material selection. Lastly, I want to briefly mention AI features. AI is often just a marketing buzzword nowadays, but with the LightMake L4, I can actually see some practical applications. Since this is still a beta product, I couldn't test all the functions yet, but one interesting example is that you can use your phone to send commands like import and slash this model. The system can then automatically process the model and prepare it for printing. Combined with cloud management, remote monitoring, and future automation features, therefore starts to feel less like a regular desktop 3D printer and more like an intelligent production system. And honestly, that's exactly where desktop 3D printing seems to be heading. So after spending several days with the LightMake L4, I think this is one of the most interesting desktop FDM printers I've tested. What makes it different isn't just the 4 print heads or the impressive specifications on paper. It's the fact that LightMake is trying to solve real production problems, reducing waste, increasing output, simplifying multi-material printing, and making print form management accessible from a desktop machine. Of course, this is still a beta unit, so there are things I haven't fully verified yet, especially long-term reliability and some of the upcoming automation features. But based on what I've tested, therefore really feels like something beyond a typical hobbyist printer. It's a machine designed for creators, small studios, and anyone who wants to turn 3D printing into a serious workflow. If you're only printing a few models occasionally, this is probably more than you need. But if you're looking for a powerful production tool that can handle large, complex, multi-material projects, the LightMake L4 is definitely a machine worth watching. And if you are interested in this product, please check out the link in the description to learn more. Thanks for watching, and Sammy will see you in the next one. Bye bye.